Welcome to Oxborough Estate. The hall here at Oxborough was built in 1482, or perhaps even earlier, and has always been home to the Bedingfeld family. Today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about the wallpaper collection here at Oxborough and our partnership with Little Greene. At Oxborough we have one of the largest collections of wallpaper in the National Trust. We have between 200 and 300 samples, and we found even more fragments and samples during the recent project to repair the roof. Some of them date from as far back as the 1750s, and some of them date right up to the 1950s, so there's a huge range of scope and colours and patterns of different designs. Oxborough is also notable for the collection of gilt leather samples that we have here. They came in fragments and panels that were fitted onto the walls almost like a jigsaw puzzle. And where they didn't quite fit, a female member of the family, Matilda Bedingfeld, in the 1850s, she painted in the gaps because she was quite artistic. We've been working with our partners Little Greene, who have explored our wallpaper collection and found inspiration from the many different samples of wallpaper.
Okсбург-Холі has been a fantastic resource for us in the work that we're doing to recreate and breathe new life into these old wallpaper designs. What's been really interesting working with the National Trust is the way that the day-to-day staff who manage and run the properties have an intimate knowledge of exactly what's held in each property. So we've visited attic spaces and back rooms where the public generally aren't allowed, and it gives us exposure to some beautiful pieces of history that we're able to recreate.
One of the papers reproduced by Little Greene is called Briar Rose, and that dates to the late 19th century. It was designed by Walter Crane, who was an arts and crafts designer but also a children's book illustrator. Now, we don't know whether that sample or that pattern was actually ever used at Oxborough, but we do know that there was a nursery here, so it's quite possible that a sample was ordered for consideration by the family and then discarded and something else was used, or indeed that it was used and has since been covered up.
Briar Rose was a really interesting piece. The design is one that we haven't had to do an awful lot with, but we're really interested in the way that the colours can provide a completely different interpretation of the same design. So a softly contrasting paper that might form a backdrop in a neutral room, we can take exactly the same design and create a much bolder colourway rather than just in its original historical context.
So one of the other papers reproduced by Little Greene is the Hoya pattern. So that was used in one of the attic spaces round about 1900, and we believe that that space was used as servants' quarters. So the collection of wallpaper samples offer us wonderful insight into the social history of the house and how the people who lived and worked here used these various spaces.
What's really nice about having a collection of traditional wallpaper designs that have all taken their inspiration from this National Trust portfolio of properties is that you can take a little piece of National Trust history and use it in your own home. And what's also really nice is that the contribution is made to the National Trust's important work to preserve these properties and the decoration of them from the sale of every tin of paint and roll of wallpaper that's made.
We can continue with our conservation work, we can continue with our research into collection items such as the wallpaper collection here at Oxborough and talk to our visitors about them for many generations to come.